Welcome to Purpose After Sports, where we interview athletes to share their post sport journey and explore how they are reinventing what it means to compete. Today, I am here with someone who has decades inside the world of college athletics as a player, as a coach, and now as an entrepreneur helping athletes navigate their next chapter. Barb Smith played at Ohio State and she built a long career in Division One coaching. But now she is the founder of Find My Team, a platform designed to help athletes and their families navigate the recruiting process. Barb, thank you so much for taking time to be here today.
Thank you for the opportunity. This is awesome.
I wanted to have you take us back to when you started playing and getting into sports. When did basketball first become something meaningful in your life?
Wow. I started playing basketball up in a hayloft in a barn. And the basket was a lot lower, but the ball was still very big for me. But that's when I started. So it was, you know, elementary school and then on into
Yeah.
junior high. In junior high, there were starting to, have these little competitions. And then from that point on, and I played multiple sports, which I highly recommend, but, basketball for some reason just stayed with me. It was just my favorite sport.
When you were starting to play, when did you think, "Hey, this could be something I wanna pursue after high school and maybe at the college level?"
Well, I knew in high school that if I could keep going, I was gonna keep going, and I was somewhat recruited for volleyball and basketball, and in high school, volleyball, we were the state champions. I was a setter. We were a lot more successful. In basketball, we were still winning the conference and all that, but we didn't get to state. We won state in volleyball. We didn't get there in basketball. And um, I could have gone places for volleyball, and I just wanted to play basketball. Maybe it was because I was running more up and down.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was, but I just knew in high school that if I had a chance to play in college, I was gonna do it.
stepping on to Ohio State, being a walk-on at first, where getting that idea and being that brave, was that the plan? And knowing, like, this is gonna work out the way it's supposed to, or what led you to make that decision?
Well, growing up in Ohio, at that time, growing up in Ohio, I had, an older sibling and also
Mhm.
uncles who had gone to Ohio State. So I was down, and I say down because I'm from Northern Ohio, but I was on the, uh, OSU campus many, many, many times and,
Yeah.
watching games, and I felt like I knew the campus, and, it was ginormous, if that's a word, at that time, and it just felt like this is a whole new opportunity. And so it was like gonna be fun, big time, the football, the card section, the whole thing. And so I had my heart set on that, long before they had anything to do with me. And interesting story, and this is why I do what I do. I went down there because I wanted to go to college there. And so I went in and I talked to then Tara Vanderveer, who was the head coach at Ohio State. This was before she went to Stanford. This is telling you how old I am, but uh, she was the head coach down there. And so I went down there and I asked my parents if they'd take me down there, and I just wanted to talk to the coach because I wanted to know, is there a chance that I could actually play
Mm.
basketball here? And I'm 5 foot and some inches. And so people were saying, "You're too short, they won't take you, or you're too short, don't do it, go here, go there, go anywhere but there."
Yeah.
And in my heart, I said, just fired me up more like, "Oh no, I can get there. I can do this. If they give me a chance, I can do it." And
Yeah.
so, I walked into Tara's office and she basically said, "Hey, there's absolutely no guarantee that you are going to make this team ever. But if you want to try to walk on, here's the workout book. Here's when we meet. Here's all the stuff. And by the way, you can come to camp this summer if you want to see, what it's like to play with the athletes."
Wow.
And you would have think she offered me. because I was so excited because the door was just open a bit. And
Yes.
so, I mean, I came to camp and I met those people and I talked to those athletes and I said, "Hey, what do they expect? What's it like?" And those athletes were spot on honest with me, and still today some of my really good friends, those people. And some of them were
Yeah.
gone by the time I got there even. They were seniors out. And
Yeah.
but the one thing they said is, "If you wanna make this team," this is Tara Vanderveer's team, "if you wanna make this team, you have to be in the best shape of your life, because when you come in the fall, all we do is run." So, I took that book home in that summer, and this is my senior year, you know,
Yeah.
senior year. I took that thing home and I did every last page of it because I wanted it that bad, and I was already enrolled, I was already coming now, and so I was gonna go to this walk-on tryout, and I was going to Ohio State regardless because I wanted to go there. And so I went down there and I kicked butt in tryouts because they tried to run us out of there. They tried to
Yeah.
overrun you out of there. And because I'd done what the players had said and what the coach said, and I did that book, they couldn't break me, basically. I was in shape. And from that point on, it's history, but I made that team. And, you know, the next question after Tara said, what do you want to do next? What's your next goal? And I said, I don't know why I said this, Mickey. I have no idea why this came out of all things. I want to start.
Yeah.
I want to start. I mean, I'm a 5 foot, couple inches freshman, nothing, walk on saying,
Yeah.
I want to start. And she said, well, go for it. And again, she didn't say that ain't ever gonna happen, that she didn't say that. She gave the door. She said, then go for it. And
Yeah.
so, that's what I did. And that first year, I got 0 playing time. I did not start at all. And the second year, 0 playing time until one event happened, and it was a bench clearing, we're losing so bad, scenario that she put all the backups in,
Yeah.
and we almost won that game. And from that point on, I started at Ohio State, and I got a scholarship and all the good things. So, it was just this it was an amazing experience and run, and really taught me a lot about, when you really want something and you know what you want, the sky's the limit.
And I feel like with your story, it's kind of foreshadowing, the person you are today and what you have continued to do. But I love you sharing it and the light in your eyes, talking about like that door opening, because for people, whether it's sports or something that they're set on, that you just sometimes need that light. And you have to make it yourself sometimes if someone doesn't give it to you. But if you know in your heart that's what you want to do, you got to work, but you can do it. So thank you
That's
for
it
sharing that with
exactly.
us.
That's it exactly. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. I think a lot of athletes today miss that piece where the door might be open because everything is done for them so much that they don't really know who they are, what they want. And I think that is a
Yeah.
huge hiccup in the recruiting process.
Can you talk to me as basketball is coming to an end, your 4 years? Where did coaching start to come into play? Where was that opportunity sprinkled in there?
Well, um, my uncle was a high school girls basketball coach, and we would always, talk about your season, my season, what's happening, and follow each other and all that. And um, I loved what he was doing, and so I knew that in high school I wanted to coach. I mean, not in high school. I'm sorry. In college, I wanted to coach, and my major was education, so I thought, "Okay, the only way for me to coach is to go into education and get a degree that way." So I did that, but as I'm in college, I thought, "I would rather coach college than high school." And
Mm,
so, now having gone through all that, and I mean, that freshman year, I sat right next to Tara in every timeout, got down there, and I was learning, I was absorbing all of that, the strategy, how she's doing all that, and that just got me fired up. After college, she helped me. Tara helped me get back then you had to get a graduate assistant degree, to go into a college, and one of Tara's mentors would come in and watch our practices and talk to us, and this is the late Dr. Rosemarie Battaglia, who was the winningest high school coach in New Jersey basketball, and she went from the high school scene to the college scene at Iona College, which is in New York. And so Tara helped me get that position and, applied for it, did all the things, and so I got my master's there and started coaching there under her. Um, and another she's a legend, maybe some of the younger folks don't know that name, but the older people would know who that is, in the coaching world, and she was just, she was a godsend. And I also got my degree. I own as a business school, so I got my degree in business, and I said at that time, "If I ever stop coaching, well, then I'll just run a business. I'll start my own business." And when
Mhm.
I got into coaching, I thought there's no way I'm gonna ever stop coaching,
Yeah.
but here I am. I'm done coaching and I'm running a business. 2 businesses, actually.
Right. And we'll get into, that as well. Talk to me about having so much experience with coaching and what's that taught you. Do you think going from player to coaching helped the way, you evolved a lot of your philosophy, or was it just other coaches helping influence that?
I think all the above. I think, having played the sport and being coached by some of the best coaches,
Yeah.
and then also in my coaching tutelage, some of the best coaches. I was just lucky to be with some great people in the coaching world, and all of that experience helped me become a better coach, become a better person, become a better mentor. But also, the coaching aspect has made me a better CEO. And probably if I went CEO first, that would have made me a better coach. If I went coaching first, that's made me a better CEO with the experience. All of it is the same. It's the running of teams and how to get people to come together. And it's getting harder and harder today to do this because people are so divided and there's so much hate in the world. But it's harder for teams to come together. So that's how I've got both of these companies. That's how it all played out.
Now, recruiting has been a part of your story in coaching a lot, and then now has been a big part of one of your businesses. Can you describe kind of your experience with recruiting just on the coaching level, and then kind of how it led you to what you do now?
Well, yeah, I have been recruiting for now over 30 years, in college
Yeah,
years and then now helping young people with this. And when I was coaching, I got in with the families. I mean, we really tried to get to know who we were recruiting. And, sometimes the rules allow closer connection and sometimes they change all the time. So sometimes you're hands off and it's harder and harder, somewhat like today. But the relationship is what builds the recruiting, uh, the connections with the coaches and the programs and all of that. And I got
100%.
the in that experience, I mean, I saw everything. I've seen families break up, divorces because of the recruiting process. I've seen people quit because of recruiting. I've seen people change sports. And then I also have seen people actually find the right place and thrive. And those are the experiences that also lead to great teams because the people want to be there and they're not
Yeah.
doing it for some other reason. They're doing it because they want to be there. Sort of like when I was at Ohio State, I wanted to go there regardless. I don't know that that's happening as much today with people because there's so much pressure now to perform, and most athletes lose a huge part of themselves trying to fit this athletic profile. and having coached kids that thrived in college, and I just my the very first Find My Team player just had her senior day in college and absolutely thrived in the situation that was not anything near what she had imagined. Um,
Yeah.
then I know that this is doable, but again, it takes a lot of work, and most families don't know how to do it.
So talk to me a little bit with getting that background and you being so hands-on with it in the coaching realm, you deciding to maybe take a step from coaching and then do this big, I wouldn't say career change, but this big leap in another direction. What was that like and the mission behind it?
It was a career change, and it was it was in the same field. So as you're saying, it
Yeah.
wasn't like I had to go learn, a different language or something. Yeah, being a CEO and being a coach are very similar. But being the person that is in charge of absolutely everything, but money, who you're hiring, firing, all that stuff, you do play a role in the college, but there are some limitations. CEO, you're on your own, and you know this. So it's a whole different ball of wax. But the cool thing
Mhm.
about this is when I was coaching, I was locked into the calendar year. So my time spent away from coaching was very small. And it was usually, maybe a week in May to take a
Yeah.
vacation, but you're on the rest of the time. So my holidays were in and out with family. I really missed a lot of things as, people were growing up. My siblings had their kids and holidays and all of that. And now that I'm a CEO, my calendar is mine. And it's so freeing in some ways because now I can schedule real time with family, parents, friends, travel. I mean, I was just in Budapest for crying out loud, just because I could go over there. And yes, I'm working, but I'm scheduling on my own. And that's one of the coolest things about that shift um,
Yeah.
in in your life.
So, Find My Team, talk to me about was it a late night revelation? When were you like, "This is where I'm gonna go next?"
Honestly, it was reflecting after my last job, and I ended at Illinois State. And so
Yes.
I went on a reflection vacation after that and just looked at the whole thing. My whole coaching career, 30 years have gone by. And I thought there have been, critical times in my career where somebody either left the program or caused an issue that really took a season south. And I just sort of get to the bottom of that. And that happened at ISU. And so I wanted to really look at that and say, what am I doing that is not catching that early enough or not helping those kids? And, and I take responsibility because there are a bunch of other players who are really trying to do what's right. And then there's a couple that just, it wasn't the right fit.
Mm,
And it didn't make any of those families or players bad people. It just was not the right fit. And
yeah,
when I say that, some of these people are starting, maybe leading scorers, big, great players, but that doesn't matter when you're talking about fit. You see great players around the country who transfer regardless because something's not right. And now people might say, hey, they're all doing it for NIL. And that's really not why most people are transferring yet. It's not NIL. It's because something is off. And so this is why I came back and I literally had airplane napkins because I wasn't prepared. I didn't have notebooks. I was going on a hiatus and
yeah,
I did napkins and I wrote down all the things that student athletes need to know before they choose a college. And it turned into a this tool that I now have that brings really, really great value to families and student athletes because it helps them understand who they are and what they want in a college experience before they even think about where they wanna go. Because you have to
Right.
know who you are, you have to know what you want, you have to know these things if you really wanna try or find true fit, and in order to do that, you have to take some time to really understand it because youth sports doesn't allow this because you're on a schedule, you're in the next thing, you're in the next tryout, you're losing a lot of that information because a lot of stuff is before you. So this assessment helps you get that back so it becomes the GPS now for your recruiting process, and that's something that I got to learn out of this whole thing, that I can help these kids, I can help these families with this process.
Now, with this, because it is not only a human for the athlete, but for the family as well, are you combining this experience for not only the athlete, but getting the families involved too, to kind of help make that decision as well?
Absolutely, the parents are very involved, and but here's the thing, and I usually demonstrate this with the actual, people, but I'm gonna explain, as these kids are growing up, the parents do all the driving. They drive them here, they drive them there, they drive, they drive, they drive. They, do their meals, they do everything for these kids. And it
Mhm.
starts so young, there's no free play, there's no creative thinking anymore. But as soon as that student athlete decides that they might want to play college, we've gotta take the parent out of that seat and put the player in that seat, and the player has to learn how to drive. And I don't
Yeah.
mean drive a car, I mean drive their process, drive their life, because now it becomes theirs and not somebody else's, and we teach them how to do that. And it's really, there's a lot of pressure, and I really, support parents, because
Mhm.
I think parenting today, the student athlete, is much harder and much different. And
Yeah.
there are pressures on those parents, and they think they have to do these certain things to, give their child the best chance. And so what that turns into is they fight all the battles. They are in front of their student athlete all the time, and it's by the time they have to make these decisions, it's too late.
Mm.
So we try to help the parents learn how to support, learn how to be there, learn how to help their student athlete, but not take it over, not do it for. Because if they do it for their children, their student athletes, the student athlete lets them. There's
Mm.
not a fight there. But if the parent steps aside, and especially after working with us, that these student athletes gain this confidence and find their voice and absolutely know how to do it, who to ask for help, how to ask for help, when to ask for help, what questions to ask, how to do the communication, all the things, plus understand what they want and how to find
Yeah.
the parents go, "Oh my god, I've never seen my student athlete cold call a coach or, be so happy about this process or, not be depressed because there's no correspondence. I mean, just all the things that happen, and everyone's journey is different. So, every family is going to have a different process, but
Yeah.
it can be done with less stress and less overwhelming feeling. And really, in my opinion, what we're doing is helping these young people figure out, yes, where they wanna go to college, how to make that happen, but also everything they learn, they're gonna they're gonna keep it post-college, and they're gonna use the same process to find their next job, to find their next life partner, to find their next committee that they wanna be on or city that they wanna live in. It's the same process, and now they understand how to find out what they want in it and how to go get it.
Now, can you take us through either a hypothetical family and their athlete or ones that you've worked with, and talk about the process that you guys go through?
I'll give you the story of this senior since she was the number one, the very first student athlete, that is now gonna graduate college. So, full circle, we've known her for 6 years, basically.
Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
this student athlete, came to us and she said, and this is a basketball player. We do all sports and all our levels and all genders, but this was our first one was a basketball player. No surprise there. And she came and said, "I only want to look at Division 1 schools," and the family was behind that. And so, all right, here we go. We start. She takes the assessment. She learns a lot about herself, confirms some other things. Parents are like, "Oh my gosh, yes, this is great." More information than they even knew. Then she, we made her lists and got everything organized. And as she's going through this process with us, we're learning, we're setting goals, we're doing, some reflection things. Probably about 6 months into the year, and she was with us for the year, 6 months into the first year there, she said, I think I want to broaden this. I think I want to look at more than just Division 1. And so we started doing that. Like, okay, let's do this, because she wanted medical school. And so there's only a certain amount of medical tracks and all that. You got to look at all the things that if you
Yep.
really want to be able to go to college and then out, it's not going to be any college for that. So we looked at everything, we sorted everything, and at the end of the process, she said, "I want nothing to do with Division 1." And she had Division 1 offer. Nothing to do with Division 1. I'm going Division 3 because it's the right fit for me.
Mm.
And so now, I'm thinking, well, parents are going to fire me because we had one. They were thrilled. They were thrilled, and it was very expensive. And we sat down and we looked at the finances, and there's negotiations involved. Plus, this student athlete was a very good uh, academic um, student. So for all of those people who don't think academics is important, that's hogwash. It's very important.
Yeah.
It opens way more doors. So she ends up getting some money, going here. And after the first year, she writes and says, "This is awesome. I love it here." Second year at the end, she calls me and says, "You're never going to believe what happened. I got an NIL deal." So now she's making money and able to pay.
Yeah.
And now it's her senior year, and she, she wrote me a letter, saying that, um, she can't imagine going anywhere else. There isn't a day that has passed when she didn't know that she found the right fit. When she dotted her,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. And I mean, that's a almost like a 180 turn, right? I mean,
Right.
you but that's the importance of finding the right fit. And now she's all set up for the next move. Post college, she knows where she's going to med school. She knows what she's got internships. And that is the difference between thriving in college and just surviving it. And those
Mm.
thrivers are usually like this. They thrive, they figure out all these things in college, they get networked, they know when they're going, and at the end, they're able to come out and give back right away.
Yeah.
Survivors, usually it takes them a little longer. Post college, they're still surviving, they're still figuring out, they'll come to it, but why not thrive and be able to come out thriving, give back right away, and be thriving?
Yeah. What would you say, like hearing that story, I get chills, and what's
I
been the
love
most rewarding? Is it things like that, getting those letters? Is it seeing the kids like slowly start to kind of process things themselves? What gives you that purpose and that passion behind what you do?
I think it's the same thing when I was coaching. If we worked on a move or something,
Hmm.
saw that move in the game and you saw them smile and their confidence build and all that, and that makes your heart smile. It's the same thing. When you start seeing them take a hold of the steering wheel of their process and they're driving it with confidence and smiling and having fun, and then they find the right place, and or you get letters like that, the one I just got and just talked about, then yes, this is doable, and it is so much fun to see these young lives, able to conquer this, and they have fun doing it.
I think that it's an amazing thing of what you do, and I'm so glad to talk to you to share my audience with it because we do have former and current. If you could give a piece of advice, not giving too many of your secrets away to athletes starting their recruiting journey, what would it be?
I would say most athletes are waiting too long to start this process. So if you can start today, start this process. And I'm talking about eighth graders on up. If you can start in eighth and ninth grade, you can make decisions and learn about yourself before the heavy, heavy, heavy pressure comes. So we encourage eighth and ninth graders to start. Number two, I would say don't rely on exposure only. And
Mm,
by that, I mean, yes, all the travel and club stuff, all the tournaments, if you're a golfer, all these things that you can do to be seen or to get numbers up or whatever, it's all good, but it shouldn't be driving the process. You should be driving your own process. So, yes, exposure is good, but you don't have to chase ID camps and chase clubs and chase and switch clubs because they're getting more exposure and all the things that families feel like they have to do um,
mm,
to have their kid on the best place to be seen, really, you need some video. You need some good playing and video, and you do need some exposure. You do need some tournaments. You do need some competition, but it doesn't have to be so regimented where you've got to drop everything, all sports, all vacations, all jobs of parents, and all things. It
right.
shouldn't be that much exposure. It's not necessary. And then lastly, I would say, if a student athlete wants this, they have to understand what driving their own process looks like, feels like, and means for it to actually work.
Now, with that, it makes me think of another question of, are you talking to them with this process of kind of what they're going to need to expect as their freshman year in college? Because I think a lot can think that they're ready, and then you step on that freshman year and your world is rocked. Is that something you walk them through as well?
Absolutely. We put everything together that they would need. And now when you're talking about eighth and ninth graders, it's still a ways to college.
Yeah.
So you're trying to build the skills, but also have the tools that you need. So when you go to college, if you are homesick, this is what you would do. If you are, in some sort of mental crises of some sort, here's the questions to ask to get that information at this young age, and then take notes because you're going to want to compare as you keep going, and you want all those safety guards and nets in place.
No, 100%. I being prepared for and making that right decision is huge, and then when you step on and being ready for that first year and sometimes even the second year, but that adjustment, there's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of things that come up and you're like, "Oh no, am I ready for this?"
And now we'll stay with the families as long, we have some student athletes in college who can, reach out if they need extra help, can't find what they're looking for. We don't drop them off at the front door either. We stay with
Yeah.
families as long as they need us. And um, yeah, because there isn't enough preparation to really be ready for college. You're going to hit some walls and obstacles and
Yeah.
you're gonna get knocked down several times. It's not gonna be as easy as it is, even though you do find some struggles, in high school, it's not the same. You're gonna be I mean, I remember, like, what did I do? What did I get myself into? Yeah. But then because it's where you wanna be and you did it and this is your choice, you have invested so much, you understand how to bounce, how to get back up there. Plus a family of 6 doesn't, we fought for everything. So, I know how to
It's
bounce
just something you knew.
out.
I
Yeah.
love it. Want to ask you some kind of rapid fire questions. We call it our fast break section. Um, hopefully that reference made sense to my fellow
Yeah,
basketball
yeah.
player. A quality every athlete should develop outside their sport.
Resilience.
Very good. Very good answer. I would definitely agree. One thing young athletes should stop worrying about.
Being perfect. I think, you know Nobody's gonna be perfect. No situation is gonna be perfect, and to be your authentic self is good enough.
Another great answer as well. I'll try not to elaborate. One one thing parents should understand about recruiting.
It's all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out, and if you can get guidance, get some guidance.
I would agree. If you could go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, what would you say?
"What were you thinking?" No, no. No, I would say thank you. I would say you know, to go after what I went after at 18 and to have the result that it had, it's like, thank you for doing that. Thank you for teaching me those lessons.
And last question, who was the coach that shaped you the most, and what did they do differently?
Wow. There have been a lot of coaches who have
I knew
shaped.
this would be mighty tough one for you. So,
I mean, I probably would go back to my high school coach, Kathy Priest. And she was she was all of my coaches almost. I mean, she was volleyball
yeah,
and basketball coach, and back in those days, you did more than one coach or, sport, but um, she was just there. I mean, she was very encouraging and, instilled some belief in us, and we were winning, and so it taught me, the hard work and all that, that you could do this, and so I would start there.
wow. Uh, Barb, I do you have anything else that you would like to leave our audience with, and where can they find what you do, and where to contact you?
Yeah, I mean, findmyteam.com is the website, and you can go there. And if anyone wants to talk, you can just schedule a call. It's free. You can schedule an appointment and just talk about your situation or have some questions you want to ask. There's no pressure to get anything. It's just a way to help families that might need some help. Or you can email me, barb at findmyteam.com, and those emails come right to me. And yeah, I would just say, to your audience, and to anyone that's like going through this process or getting ready to, the college scene has changed drastically. And unfortunately for high school kids right now, it is harder than it's ever been to be recruited because of all these changes. And so I would strongly encourage families to get guidance, but also to not put a bunch of pressure on yourself or your child to have to get to a certain level or, hit these outcomes that are so far away that could be discouraging in the long run. Just,
Yeah.
just help the student athletes understand who they are and what they want and go after that. Like this kid did that I talked about, this student
Mhm.
athlete. She just went for what she wanted and everything worked out. And so if you can have that as your goal, um, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard,
Yeah.
but I would try hard to sit down with my athlete and talk about that and do that and allow that to be how you either initiate this process or how you switch gears if you're already in it.
So much wisdom in this field, not only as a coach and but now as a CEO. So thank you for taking time to share it with our audience. Barb, you've been such a new light in my life, so I'm glad that we were able to make that connection. And I love learning what you do, and our audience will as well. So if any of our audience could use this information or know someone that could, please like and share. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you too, Mickey. I applaud what you're doing to help people as well. I know it comes from the heart, and I think that's the basis of a good thing. And so let's keep doing what we're doing and helping these families. And yeah, thank you
Absolutely,
so
Barb.
much.